Welcome back, Focus Learners. Okay, so today's explainer is a really fun one. We are looking at something totally unique, the giant robot Lily adventure from the Goo Goo Gaga animation universe. Now you might be thinking, wait, a kid's cartoon? But stick with me here. On the surface, yeah, it's this vibrant, super fun sequence about characters playing inside a massive machine. But if we dig just a little deeper, it is literally a brilliant metaphor for team dynamics, collaboration, and crisis management. It perfectly maps out how different roles have to interact to keep a complex system running smoothly. It's really a game changer of an example.
Okay, let's dive into this. The whole adventure kicks off when the characters get invited to step into an elevator and actually go inside this massive creation. And their immediate reaction, just absolute pure wonder. They say, come explore inside Robot Lily. I can actually play inside the game. Think about it. That is the exact feeling of initial onboarding for any new team, right? You realize you aren't just observing a structure from the outside anymore. You are stepping into it, you're part of the mechanics now, and your actions are actually going to dictate how this whole shebang operates.
Section 1. Inside the robot. Internal culture. So any organizational expert will tell you that internal culture rarely matches the external armor, and we see that perfectly here. On the outside, Giant Robot Lily is this imposing, massive, structured, mechanical machine. But the moment they step off that elevator, whoa, completely different world. The interior is described as super comfy. It's filled with cushions, music is playing, and everyone can just pick a room and chill. This is actually the hallmark of a highly functional team. Your external output might be rigid, professional, and massive, but the internal environment, where your team actually lives and breathes, needs to be a place of real comfort and safety.
The characters just naturally start customizing their space. One of them notes, this bed is so soft, I need some music in here. Feel the beat. This is literally the perfect room. Now, this perfect room vibe, that is the foundational bedrock of a healthy team culture. Before you can ever ask a team to perform complex, high-stakes tasks, they have to feel grounded. They need to feel comfortable and creatively stimulated. They basically need to hear the music and feel the beat of their own workspace before the real heavy lifting even begins.
Section 2. A brand new perspective. Seeing the big picture. Once that comfort is established, the team is finally ready to see the bigger picture. Making their way to the visual center, the control room, one character just marvels, I can see everything outside from here. And the response is, perfect, exactly. You're looking through the robot's eyes. This is a monumental shift for them. They are no longer just looking at their immediate surroundings or their individual comfy rooms. They've ascended to a vantage point where they can see the entire world through the perspective of the massive project they're driving. It represents a team finally gaining a shared, larger-than-life perspective on their ultimate goals. And this brilliantly illustrates the whole concept of a shared vision. As the characters quickly realize, a really special feature of this room is that the robot actually copies their movements. So when the team operates from the exact same vantage point, when they're seeing the bigger picture together, their individual movements suddenly become synchronized. A unified team perfectly reflects its shared vision outward into the world. When they move together inside, the giant robot moves outside. Section 3. The dance of teamwork. Executing the vision. But hey, just observing things isn't enough, right? You have to take action. And action always starts with a single spark. Someone says, guys, I've got an idea. Let's put on a show with Robot Lily. This is the huge pivot from merely existing inside a system to actively using it to create something spectacular. But here's the catch. A massive task, like coordinating a giant mechanical robot to put on a cohesive dance performance, you can't do that with one person just flailing their arms around. It requires a really strict, agreed-upon division of labor. You have to break down massive responsibilities into manageable, specialized parts. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how flawlessly it maps out the anatomy of a productive team. Just look at how they divide the labor to make this show happen. Poppy is put in charge of controlling the emotions, Rory powers the energy, and Player controls the movement. Every single well-oiled machine needs these exact three things: an emotional core to keep the team connected and the output meaningful, a relentless energy source to drive the momentum forward, and a tactical driver, the player, to execute the actual physical movements. Without even one of these, the robot wouldn't be able to perform. And when all those roles actually synchronize, oh, it is absolute magic. Move your feet, feel alive, everybody dance right now. Shining bright side by side. The energy peaks, the emotions are running high, and the movements are just flawless. They have successfully taken their distinct, separate roles and fused them together into one unified, spectacular performance. The system is working perfectly. The robot is dancing.
Section 4. Total system failure, when the music stops. Because, well, all that magic works great, until it suddenly doesn't. What happens to a team when their shared system just completely stalls out? What happens when the music stops, the lights go out, and the machine just freezes?
The panic sets in immediately. As the source material highlights, if the robot shuts down, everything inside will stop too. Then what do we do? This right here is the ultimate crisis point for literally any organization, because it suddenly becomes crystal clear that the perfect room culture, the soft beds and the comfy cushions, they mean absolutely nothing if the underlying operational system fails. The entire internal world is entirely dependent on the external structure remaining functional. Basically, if the robot goes down, everything goes down with it.
Section 5. Player saves the day. Decisive action. Let's move to and see how this builds, because this is where the theoretical ideas of teamwork are really stress-tested by reality. Let's walk through this exact sequence of crisis management. Step 1, the sudden, unexpected shutdown. Step 2, the immediate realization of the high stakes. If this stops, we all stop. Step 3, the urgent need for decisive action. The team doesn't have time to form a committee. They call upon a specific role to execute a recovery. They call upon the driver. They call upon player.
The directive here is super clear and incredibly urgent. Player can control the robot. Player make the robot stand up. Now there's a moment of hesitation here, a very real, very human moment. I think I can do it. But player pushes past that hesitation, stepping up and taking the reins to execute a massive recovery mission. When the whole system fails, you absolutely need the person who controls the movement to manually override that freeze and force the structure to function again. And he does it. The robot stands up, disaster is completely averted, and the team erupts in a huge, great job. So the crucial point is this. The robot didn't survive the shutdown by accident. Not at all. It survived because the team had clearly defined roles from the very start. They knew exactly who was in charge of movement. It was that combination of Rory's underlying energy, Poppy's emotional support, and players' decisive, tactical control that saved the entire operation from just collapsing entirely. This brilliant little cartoon sequence actually leaves us with an incredibly powerful framework to evaluate our own real-world collaborations. We all work inside giant robots of our own, right? Whether that's a company, a passion project, or a community. So I want to leave you with this to think about. When your team inevitably faces a sudden shutdown, what role do you play? Are you the energy keeping the momentum alive? Are you the emotion holding the team together? Or are you the player who pushes past the hesitation to make the entire system stand back up? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep learning.